Good day, learners. Welcome to another session of School Organization and Management. I am Dr. Tandra Sharma, Professor, Jagannath Institute of Education. My today's topic from Unit 2, School as an Organization, is School Building, Design and Components, including hostels. The points to be covered in this topic are introduction, importance of the school plant, essentials of a school plant, design of the school building, its basic components, precautions for construction of a school building, infrastructure, and the school hostel. To quote Winston Churchill, we shape our buildings in the beginning and ultimately they shape us. So before we start with the school building, we had studied in our earlier classes that school is an organization that provides instruction, an institution for teaching and learning under the directions of the teacher. School plant refers to the facilities of the school, the buildings, and other structure and equipments and furniture. The school building is a component of the school plant. So let us first understand what is a school plant, and then we will go to the school building. The school plant is the nerve center of the educational process. The school plant should be aesthetically pleasing and therefore morally elevating. It should be a place of attraction for the students and should keep them happy with its healthy environment. Therefore, the school building, playground, furniture, classroom, library, hostel, equipments, laboratories, etc. are all the components of the school plant. Now, what is the importance of the school plant? The school plant is important because it serves as the realization of the school objectives. It is an integral part of the learning environment. It influences on the health and personality, and it has influence on the achievement of the students. Essentials of a school plant. The essentials of the school plant are the school site, that means where the school is to be built up. Second, the school building. This is one of the components of the school plant. Then third, this equipments. There are various equipments in the school plant. For example, the apparatus, classrooms, furnitures, blackboards, etc. And fourth, maintenance and repair. This is also very important. Unless and until we do maintenance, then it becomes a problems in the future. So this maintenance and repairs becomes very important. So, and it's one of the essentials of a school plant. Now let me come to the design of the school building. The design of the school building should be simple but elegant. Design of the school building can be of the following types. For example, E, H, U type, T type, L type, I type, and Y type. If we need any expansion, then any of these types can be selected, and especially the H type is the most flexible one where expansion can be done very easily. The design of the school building is decided on the following points. Number one, location of the school, area of the school plant, future expansion of the school, number of students in the school, and the objectives of the school plant. The design of the school plant should be such that classroom, labs, and library have cross ventilation and provision of natural light in the classroom. The school plant should be attractive for the students and the community. The provision of the school plant can be classified into the following categories. There are 4 categories in the school plant. Number 1, the administrative building. Then we have the academic provisions, co-curricular activities provisions, and the physical provisions. The school building. The housing of the school has to be intelligently planned and executed. Construction of school building should be neat, artistic, and durable. Taking into consideration the importance of the school building in the teaching learning process, the following measures as recommended by the Secondary Education Commission should be considered. Basically, we have 2 types of schools. One is the rural schools and the other is the urban schools. Number 1, rural schools. These schools are established in villages or the rural areas with fair amount of population and easily accessible to the surrounding villages. There must be enough open ground for playgrounds and extracurricular activities of the school. Number 2, urban school. The site for an urban school should not be in a very congested area or in the industrial areas. The school should be so located that transport for students are available and it is in an area free from noise and bustle of the city life. The other measures that should be followed are, number 1, the level of the school should be high so that no waterlogging takes place in the monsoon. There should be good drainage system. Number 2, the building should be south facing. Number 3, an open and spacious space should be selected for the school to carry out different activities. Fourth, the size of the school should be determined according to the type of educational program it has. That means whether it is an elementary school, whether it is a secondary school, or whether it is a senior secondary school. Fifth, the school plan should be planned according to the changing requirements for the future development. Sixth, the school plan be such that it can accommodate all types of students. For example, the gifted, the slow learners, the average, the differently able, etc. And number 7, ventilation, light, etc. should be in accordance with the best practices. Now let us come to the basic components of a school building. The basic components of the school building are the classrooms, the library and the reading room, assembly hall, medical examination room, office room, staff room, storage and supply rooms, school playgrounds, laboratories, subject rooms, administrative suite, and canteen. Now let me discuss one by one the details of the components. The first one is the classroom. The requirements of a classroom are space, lighting, ventilation, blackboard, furniture, etc. In a secondary school, each section of the student should have a room. Though 2 sections or more can be accommodated in one big room designed to seat around 70 pupils. Some rooms should accommodate as many as 70 and others 30 to 40 students. About 1/4 to 1/5 of the rooms should be larger and smaller than the average. The classroom should be further provided with adequate storage cabinets, shelves, and filing cases for teaching supplies, materials, and books. Sufficient tackboard at eye level and blackboard should be provided for the teaching programs. The classroom should present a pleasant and inviting look. The wall should be painted with some light color. The room should be tastefully decorated. Rooms with northern and eastern light should have warm colors such as red, yellow, orange, etc. Rooms with southern and western light should have cool colors such as green, blue, and certain compositions of gray. In dark colored wall rooms, ceiling should be white. In others, it should be cream colored. The walls of the room should be utilized to the fullest advantage. One wall should have writing surface throughout its length, and green is preferable to black because the latter causes glare. One wall should have wooden surface covered with flannel for pinning notices, news sheets, charts, maps, etc. The other wall should have built-in cupboards for keeping books, equipments, and other teaching aids. The classroom should have one door opening outside. The other requirements of a classroom are, first, let me talk about the space. A classroom needs plenty of area, lighting, ventilation, furniture of good taste, and decoration of atmosphere. A room should be large enough to accommodate 40 to 45 pupils. The dimension should be 22 by 23. The Secondary Education Commission recommends that with a view to establishing personal contact between the teacher and the taught and to exert a wholesome influence on the pupils, the optimum number that should be admitted to any class should be 30, and at the maximum it should not exceed 40. On general principle, each pupil must have a space of 10 square feet. The height of the room must not be beyond 15 feet. A very high room will mean more cost without any commensurate advantage in the educational effort. Moreover, a very high room is hard to ventilate or decorate easily. The next requirement of the classroom is the lighting. Proper means of lighting should be provided. Every room should be well lighted. Light should be well diffused and should not fall directly on the eyes of the students. It should come from the left. Where light from the left is not possible, the light from the right may be allowed. The desks, therefore, should be arranged in such a manner so as to take full advantage of the light coming from the left. Windows serve two purposes: admission of light and admission of air. The window area should not be less than 1/5 of the floor area. The window sill should be placed at not more than 4 feet and not less than 3.5 feet above the floor of the rooms in which the students are seated. The next requirement of the classroom is proper ventilation. Ventilation can be done by natural and artificial methods. Natural ventilation depends upon natural forces, while artificial ventilation is brought about by the use of fans, etc. The next requirement is the blackboard. The blackboard is a very necessary equipment of the classroom and a handy apparatus in the hands of a teacher. A teacher who does not use the blackboard properly is not a good teacher. There are usually a variety of blackboards nowadays used. There are wall blackboards and easel blackboards as well as smart boards nowadays available in the classroom. The blackboard should be either black or green in color. The next requirement of a classroom is the adequate furniture. The Secondary Education Commission observes the whole of the furniture and equipment of the school can be divided into two sections, that is, movable and immovable furniture. The latter are usually provided during the courses of the building, that is the immovable furniture, and since they are fixtures, Great care should be given to their designs. Movable furniture should be given equal thought, and because it can be moved, there can be a variety in the design. The school furniture and equipment is a very prominent feature in the child's environment. It should be pleasing, the design, and the efficient in function. The child spends a good deal of time at desk. It is obvious that right postures can be maintained only when good seats are provided. A comfortable child will pay more attention and concentration to his work. The following point should be borne in mind while providing furniture to the students in the classroom. Number one, there should be, as far as possible, single desk with slight slope towards the seat. Number two, the seat should be supported by a back. Third, the maximum length of the desk should be 12 feet. Fourth, the desk should be suited to the size of the students. Fifth, the desk should not be arranged more than 6 rows deep. Sixth, 18 of the space should be provided to each pupil. Seventh, there should be sufficient space between the row of the desk as well as between the desks and walls so to have free movement. The classroom should have not only space for good study but adequate space for using maps, charts, pictures, specimens, model, exhibits, reference books, tools, craft materials, experiment apparatus, and the like. Every instructional room should be provided with a healthful living and working environment for pupils and teachers. Now, let me come to the next component of the school building, that is the library and the reading room. Library is the hub of the academic life of a school. With the new techniques of teaching, library should be the center of the school educational program. When resources permit, reading room should be separate from the library hall. The secondary school library should be easily accessible to all classrooms and near those departments that use it the most, but remote from the centers of noisy activities such as the street or athletic field. The next component of the school building is the assembly hall. The hall can be used as a multi-purpose room, as an auditorium with a combination of functions such as gymnasium and refreshment room, or as the audio-visual room. Its size will be determined by the local needs, but the hall should have suitable stage and not less than 20 by 30 feet with green rooms and other equipments and furnishings. It should be located on the ground floor and possibly in a wing isolated from the quieter areas to ensure safety of crowds, easy access for both pupils and the public, reduced sound interference, and accessibility to parking. The next important requirement of the school building is the medical examination room. Every secondary school should have a room set aside for medical and dental services equipped with running water and electric power outlets. The next important component of the school building is the office room. To serve as a good coordinating center for the school, the office should be centrally located. It should be easily accessible to visitors, teachers, and pupils. A good office in a large secondary school requires 4 things: a room for the headmaster, a waiting room for the visitors, an office room for the clerk, and a storeroom with shelves and wall cupboards for office and educational files. Alternatively, a part of the headmaster's room may be used for receiving visitors, while office and educational files may be stored in wall cupboards in the clerk's room. The school office should be equipped with modern equipment. It should have time-saving devices such as the computer, duplicating machines, desks, calendar, rubber stamps, etc. There must be telephone, bookkeeping machine, computing machines, etc. A fireproof vault or a safe is a must in every office for the safe upkeeping of the cash and confidential records. The next important component is the staff room. A room should be made available to teachers where they can meet each other, may work together or individually. It should have cupboards with walls or lockers may be there where the teachers may keep their things. The next important component of the school building is the storage and the supply rooms. Some rooms should be provided for storing the tools, unused furniture, laboratory, workshop, and office equipment, athletic supplies, etc. These stores should be at a fairly safe place. The next component of the school building is a school playground. The playground and few other smaller areas for different games are as important for educational purpose as school building with their classrooms and other paraphernalia. When play is to be accepted to be the natural agency for education of the child up to the age of puberty, then school must have playgrounds for activities, games, or projects which can be conducted only in the open. Hence, school must provide open spaces, garden plot areas, sufficient ground spaces under shady trees, and so on for different types of school work. The other important components of the school are the laboratories. The purpose of the school lab is to provide practical knowledge of what has been taught in theory. The students verify the theoretical concepts by experimentation in the labs, acquire first-hand knowledge, and draw conclusions. They also learn how to write the report of the experiment that they have completed. Science and computer labs are common in schools. There are other important labs also. For example, the home science lab, the mathematics lab, environmental science lab, language lab, etc. According to CBSE, there should be a composite science lab for a secondary school, and a senior secondary school should have separate science labs for chemistry, physics, and biology. Each science lab should have a minimum area of 9 meters by 6 meters, and it should be fully equipped. Some of the schools have more than one lab of each category. All the labs should be well equipped with demo tables, the required apparatus, equipment, and supplies. Each lab should have an attached store. This room is meant for storing the supplies, chemicals, equipments, etc. It is necessary that all the science labs be fitted with the fire extinguisher and a fume extractor. Other safety precautions like the first aid kit should also be made available in the science lab. Apart from this, the important component of the school building are the subject rooms. There are various subject rooms like geography room, art room, music room, math room, etc. Different subjects are taught in schools. Some subjects are such that their curriculum transaction can be completed effectively in the proper ambience only. The classroom where geography, for example, is taught should be equipped with up-to-date globes, atlases, slides, and wall maps of the world, India, and world regions or continents. These things should be systematically kept in part of the geography room. The necessary apparatus for teaching geography, specimens, lantern slides, pictures, etc. should be arranged and indexed. The various geographical tools such as the scales, projections, weather maps, graphs, diagrams, statistical tools also should may be available. The other rooms which are important are the music room, art room, dance room, EVS room, maths room, etc. All subject rooms should be designed as per the respective requirements of the subject. These rooms should possess the common features of spacious space, fresh air, and adequate light. Each room should have the required equipment, apparatus, and teaching aids. Furniture and fitting should be according to the nature of the subject. The administrative suite is the headmaster room and the school office. In a secondary school, there should be a room for the headmaster. Site for this room should be carefully chosen. It should be situated at some prominent place where the headmaster's presence may be felt strongly. It should be easily accessible to the visitors, teachers, and pupils. So the room should be spacious one, and also whenever need of calling a meeting arises, the whole staff may be seated there. This room should be well constructed. So the headmaster's room should be attractive one to impress the outsiders and parents, those who are coming to the office frequently. Attached to the headmaster's room should be the school's office. This is the controlling place or the working of the effective organization of the total school program. So it should be centrally located to serve as a good coordinating center for the school. It should be as near to the headmaster's office as far as possible. There, the office should be provided with all the necessary equipment. Apart from this, the school must also have a canteen which must have a good, healthy and clean atmosphere and must supply healthy food. The various precautions for construction of a school building are: first is planning. Preparation of a master plan by a qualified architect is necessary. If planning is not proper, then further expansion or it may be dangerous because we deal with the students. The second important precaution that should be taken, that is, while selecting the site of the school, the points to be considered are: number one, it should be away from the polluted area. Number two, accessibility. That means sufficient area of playground, facilities for future expansion. These things should be kept in mind. Thirdly, it should be away from the dumping ground and the noisy area. And of course, the fourth important point that needs to be considered is the land requirement. Depending upon the size of the school or the type of the school, whether it is an elementary school, whether it is a secondary school, whether it is a senior secondary school, the land requirement should be taken as per the requirement and as per the norms of the CBSC. Now let me come to the school hostel. School hostel are residential facilities provided in or adjoining the schools. There are many boarding schools where all or most of the students stay in the hostels. And there are some popular schools which are not residential schools, but because of their popularity, parents from distant places want their wards that they should get education in those schools. So such schools build hostels for the students whose parents reside in far off places. Some parents, being too busy and unable to attend to their wards, also prefer to send their wards to the school hostel. The school hostel is an important institution where students learn many good qualities like cooperation, sympathy, temperance, self-dependence, restraint, justice, and economy. A hostel is usually attached to a school and it is housed in a proper building with good sanitary arrangements. The hostel should be constructed in the school compound and should be in a quiet corner and away from the main road. The following factors must be considered while constructing a school hostel. That is, number one, the number of students. The number of students to be housed, depending upon that, the land area and the school hostel should be constructed. There must be mess facility. Then the next important point that is to be considered is the distance between the school and the hostel. Usually the school hostel should be within the school campus, and if it is not, it should be near the school at least. Then the environment. The environment should be neat, clean, and less noisy. Fifth, provision of indoor and outdoor games. There must be adequate provision of indoor and outdoor games for the hostel mates. Sixth, there must be enough recreational facilities and also according to the age. Seventh, there must be a warden. Then the warden must be cooperative, must be very polite, and should be like the parents. Eighth factor, emphasis on disciplined hostel life. This is very important that as the students are away from home, emphasis on discipline has to be looked after. And ninth, the first aid facility is one of the important factors that should be considered while constructing a school hostel. Apart from this, when a person stays in a hostel, there are certain advantages that he or she gains. That is, he has the habit, developing the habit of self-reliance, habit of regularity and punctuality, developing cooperation and social skills, independence and self-realization, necessities within easy reach, develops healthy competitive spirit, solution of study problems, and of course, there is growth of the personality. There are very well-known hostels or boarding schools in India. Some of them are Shayadri School, Pune, Welham Girls School, Dehradun, Bishop Cotton School, Shimla, Rishi Valley School, Chittor, Mayo Girls College and School, Ajmer, and the Sindhya School, Gwalior. So when we construct, we have an important school hostel. Some of the important features that we should also keep in mind, that is, there must be separate hostels for boys and girls. Boys' hostel should be supervised by the male wardens and the girls' hostel by the female wardens. The hostels can be either of dormitory type or of room sharing type. Washrooms, dining hall, guest rooms, etc. are common for the hostelers. Many hostels are supervised by full-time hostel supervisor. Besides this, there should be hostel advisory committee advising on matters pertaining to the maintenance of the hostel, for food and beverages, for hostel accounts, for framing the rules to be observed by the hostelers, etc. Thank you.